So I'm going to give a little bit of an intro and background to peer-to-peer and open source now, and then Catherine will talk about health. So I want to start by thinking back to some of the early days of the COVID-19 pandemic, when we saw that information and knowledge, whether it was shared or withheld, is key to the success of global and national responses to this. We witnessed that closed intellectual property rights can create really big problems regarding critical life-saving items, such as 3M's many patents preventing others from producing masks. Intellectual property of that kind of nature has always been rationalized under neoliberal economics, but the inhumanity of it was really exposed. When we talk about peer-to-peer, we're describing kinds of relational networks that empower an open commons mode of production and knowledge generation. In some ways, peer-to-peer substitutes for local relationships that we lost during the process of globalization. And now, despite being a global community, we can all still work together through different peer-to-peer networks. There's sometimes a debate in ecological economics, which is where the three of us come from, about global versus local, but peer-to-peer empowers both of those. Peer-to-peer is open access, so this is a practice where designs and knowledge, they're available freely through open licenses. People can still use those to sell and manufacture goods for a profit, but without the arguably unethical rents from intellectual property. It can't be privatized, so you don't get the same kinds of monopolies and profit-driven growth motives that have created extreme inequality and environmental devastation. I've long been a proponent of mainly distributed manufacturing, but also open source knowledge and peer-to-peer, which helps support that, as they all empower individuals and communities while embodying an ethic that relates and corresponds to core values in both ecology and in care. Our current knowledge economy and innovation processes do not enhance the well-being of humanity or the planet. Production and innovation, they follow patterns for the sake of profit and growth rather than for need or for what people are needing. On the other hand, the peer-to-peer community responds to the needs of the community instead of taking advantage of it. So open knowledge is iterative. People can learn and grow together while also lowering the threshold for participation required to participate in the generation of knowledge. So it's equitable and it's democratic. Peer-to-peer is inherently caring in some ways, as it's based on reciprocity and sharing rather than extraction. In academia, we have a very funny view on knowledge. There's endless worries about someone gaining from an idea that we produced. But what if we included knowledge in our quality of life indicators, ease of access to it, collaborative creation of it, and how it improves the human-earth relationship, rather than thinking about knowledge as something that we own? Peer-to-peer builds on humanity's altruistic and cooperative and caring nature as a mode of relationship that allows individuals to connect and to collaborate, produce, and share without barrier or gain beyond a collective pro-social evolution. So the pandemic has really demonstrated the need for open source knowledge systems, and we can learn a lot from the efforts that have emerged in response to the pandemic. For example, very early on, open access schematics and files became quickly available to share with people who had access to 3D printers to help produce local personal protective equipment. And if the designs weren't quite perfect or they weren't working, people changed them and then shared it again freely. Same goes for patterns and designs for masks, fabric masks. And not only has all of that information been given out for free, but then people started making 3D printed and handicrafted PPE and giving it away for free. Donations even from larger companies came pouring in, and people in my community, and I know in other places in Kitchener-Waterloo and across Canada at least, people started to hang masks from trees saying, take one if you need one. Online, folks started popping up, offering to help one another however they could. People are geographically quite separated, but technically very, very close. And so they've been able to connect people to those that can help others the best. The peer-to-peer community was not only able to quickly respond to the needs of the community, they did so without asking for anything in return. So if we look forward into the future of what it could look like, we can imagine peer-to-peer food systems connecting farmers with those in need of food, of healthy foods, health networks of people helping people, more peer-to-peer goods sharing networks. I'm already in personally about 10 parent sharing groups, but most of those are through a company that makes a profit off of our peer-to-peer networks. And skill sharing and distributed production that replaces some of our global trade needs. So if we hope to foster capacity to reestablish control over production and knowledge. Instead of becoming or remaining, I guess, passive victims to neoliberalism, we need to bring back into the very heart of our culture respect for what makes us human, cooperation and care and creativity. We've devalued these in favor of growth and knowledge for profit. So by embracing the peer-to-peer community, we can shift from resilience, the ability to recover, to an anti-fragility, that is to thrive as a result of stressors. The peer-to-peer and the commons equip communities with systems of knowledge transfer and development that can increase our capacity to address problems as they pop up, even if we don't know what they are. Before the pandemic, we didn't know what we would need, but the peer-to-peer community, the makers and the retoolers, they filled our needs so quickly and freely because the infrastructure to help was already in place, and they were already a part of an economy that prioritizes caring and collective well-being. So through cooperative knowledge generation, which is often in these communities stimulated by playful curiosity and trust and reciprocity, we can be more equipped to confront other inevitable crises.